So Congress is making a last-ditch effort to get a national ban on so-called assault weapons passed through a back door. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you agree that a national ban on so-called assault weapons would clearly violate the Second Amendment, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. How's it going, everyone? My name is Anthony Miranda. I am a licensed and practicing attorney in the state of California with an emphasis on Second Amendment rights. I've been part of Second Amendment litigation both at a state level and a national level, while serving as a staff attorney with the Firearms Policy Coalition legal team. As I mentioned in the intro, there is a renewed push to get a national ban on so-called assault weapons also passed through the Senate. In response to the recent incident in Colorado, there is now a push to get H.R. 1808, which has already passed through the House, to now get it passed through the Senate. Currently, Democrats and various anti-gun groups like Giffords, Newtown Alliance, Brady, and many more are pushing for Chuck Schumer to bring H.R. 1808 onto the Senate floor for a vote. But also there are rumors that there may be another attempt that they're going to try to do, and they're going to try to do something a little bit sneaky. Rumors are that they may attempt to get the language of H.R. 1808, the ban on so-called assault weapons. They may try to get that language added into and amended into the bill, which is called the Respect for Marriage Act. The Respect of Marriage Act, or H.R. 8404, is a piece of legislation that was introduced which provides statutory authority for same-sex marriages. The Respect for Marriage Act passed in the House and is likely going to be brought at the Senate floor for a vote, and it's likely going to be brought before the end of this session. Right now, Congress is in the whole lame duck period with new members of Congress coming in January, but some pieces of legislation like this Respect for Marriage Act will get a final push on a vote before the end of this session. And with the current narrative out in regards to the whole Colorado incident, Democrats will now try to use this bill, the Respect for Marriage Act, and try to add in the language in regards to banning so-called assault weapons and try to amend that into this bill, which they are going to likely bring for a vote. Now, for those who don't recall, H.R. 1808, also known as the Assault Weapons Ban of 2022, is a bill which states that it shall be unlawful for a person to import, sell, manufacture, transfer, or possess, in or affecting interstate or foreign commerce, a semi-automatic assault weapon. But the question is, what does this bill define to be a so-called assault weapon? Well, the bill states that a semi-automatic assault weapon means a semi-automatic rifle that has a magazine that is not a fixed magazine and has one of the following offending features: a pistol grip, a forward grip, a folding or telescoping stock, a grenade launcher, a barrel shroud, or a threaded barrel. It also defines it as a semi-automatic rifle that has a fixed magazine with the capacity to accept more than 10 rounds. But this bill does not just stop right there. It also states a so-called assault weapon is a semi-automatic pistol that has a magazine that is not fixed and has any of the following offending features, including a threaded barrel, a second pistol grip, a barrel shroud, the capacity to accept a detachable magazine at some location outside of the pistol grip, a stabilizing brace, or if it's a semi-automatic version of an automatic firearm. But again, this bill does not stop just there. It goes on even further. It also bans semi-automatic shotguns as so-called assault weapons that have detachable magazines and any of the following features. Again, telescoping stock, a pistol grip, a fixed magazine that can accept more than 5 rounds, a forward grip, or the ability to accept a detachable magazine. Then this definition of a so-called assault weapon also lists a variety of make and models that they are going to try to ban at a federal level. Now, like always in H.R. 1808, they try to fool people and say that they will only do a prospective ban on these types of firearms. They say that we're going to allow that you can keep your rifles, that you can keep your firearms that we define as so-called assault weapons, that we're going to grandfather those in, and under a grandfather provision, you can keep possession of those items. And along with that, and along with the grandfathered rifles, under this bill, any future sale of those rifles or transfers of it must go through a licensed dealer, and a background check will be run on those so-called assault weapons. However, this bill, H.R. 1808, is not isolated to just so-called assault weapons. It also goes after and targets magazines as well. The bill states that it shall be unlawful for a person to import, sell, manufacture, transfer, or possess in or affecting interstate commerce a large capacity ammunition feeding device. So right there, that is your national ban on so-called large capacity magazines. This bill would define a large capacity ammunition feeding device to mean a magazine, belt, drum, feed strip, or similar device, including any such device joined or coupled with another in any manner that has an overall capacity of or that can be readily restored, changed, or converted to accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition. If this language sounds familiar, it's because a ton of states use this type of language. California used this, and then this year alone, we saw Washington pass a law that has this type of language, and we just saw Oregon pass and vote in favor of a magazine ban, which does the similar thing that this national ban would try to do as well. It bans any magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. But again, they try to soften the blow by saying that it will be okay, that they will grandfather in the possession of magazines that you had in your possession prior to this bill going into effect. Now, you may be asking yourself, if this becomes law, how will they know which rifles or magazines were in the possession of individuals prior to the ban, and how will they likely know which rifles and magazines were made post-ban? Well, this bill includes marking and identification requirements as well. It states that any rifle or magazine manufactured after the bill goes into effect must include a serial number and a date which identifies that it was made post-ban. So this bill is very comprehensive, and they did think about exactly what they're going to do. So this bill is very clear. It cuts off the lines. It cuts off a very clear effective date delineation to where rifles and magazines after a certain date will be required to be marked by the manufacturer with a serial number and a date, so that the federal government or law enforcement would be able to identify which rifles were made pre and post ban and what magazines were made pre and post ban. So that's a quick rundown of the language included in HR 1808. It is a ban on so-called assault weapons and also a ban on so-called large capacity magazines as well. And this would be a national ban. And that's the language that they currently want to get voted on in the Senate. And that's the type of language that they want to get added into this other bill called the Respect for Marriage Act. Now, if you were to ask my opinion, it's very, very unlikely that this language would ever pass. There's a reason why after HR 1808 was passed at the House level, why it then went to the Senate and pretty much just sat there and has been dead ever since. That's because they simply don't have enough votes in favor of passing this type of radical national ban on so-called assault weapons and bans on so-called large capacity magazines as well. So I don't see that this would ever get passed, even if it's added into another bill like the Respect for Marriage Act. In fact, I think it would be pretty insane for them to add this language into that other bill, because I think that just would be a surefire way of them to actually ultimately make sure that both of these bills would 100% die, because something so radical at both levels that really got everybody charged at both levels of the political spectrum in dealing with marriage and then also doing gun control all in one comprehensive bill with very broad-reaching language. I don't think that they're going to get something like that passed. I don't think that they would find the support for something like that. But indications are right now, and rumors are, that they will at least try to get it amended in. And then if they can't do that, maybe they will try to get a solo vote on HR 1808. But again, I don't think that this would ever pass in the Senate, and I don't think that they would have enough votes for this. But regardless, I always recommend that you reach out to your representatives. Let them know you do not support language like this, that you do not support bills like HR 1808 passing. And I don't think that it will pass, but it's better to be safe than sorry. At least reach out to your representatives, let them know, no, do not vote in favor of HR 1808 if it is introduced at the Senate level, and definitely don't vote in favor of being amended into this other bill. And if they do, you will definitely vote them out the next time it comes to vote. But regardless, I will definitely keep my eyes on this, and if I get any more information, I will let you all know. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment down below, and I'll try to answer best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm or fuel Al Gore's rhythm. It adds fuel to his jet and signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of two-way news. As always, I want to thank everybody who likes, comments, subscribes, who hits the notification bell, who shares these videos. You guys are directly impacting these videos, impacting this channel, helping me to reach and educate more people than I could ever do on my own. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget, this nation is built by Armed Scholars, and this nation will be maintained by Armed Scholars.